Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm pleased to take what I think is the final call in this appropriations debate. I'm pleased to take the final call to talk about the good work that the government is doing and the funding that will come from this appropriations bill and how it will assist the government to continue to deliver the results for New Zealanders. We are delivering results for New Zealanders, and New Zealanders know when they head to the polling booths in less than 3 months' time, they can trust this government to keep delivering the results. And I think, Mr. Speaker, when they look at which side of this House they can trust to deliver, trust to keep their word, trust to do the right thing for New Zealanders, they know that the John Key-led government can deliver for New Zealanders. Mr. Speaker, I've been listening in the House through most of the debate and listening to the speakers from the other side. You wouldn't think, Mr. Speaker, that in this country we have one of the fastest growing economies in the OECD when you listen to speeches from the other side. Mr. Speaker, you wouldn't realise, listening to speeches from the other side, that 84,000 New Zealanders in the last year gained jobs, and in the next 4 years, 170,000 New Zealanders will be gaining jobs. You wouldn't realise from the speeches from the other side that in the last 2 years, average wages have increased by $3,000 and unemployment is on its way down. Unemployment will continue to go on the way down and wages will continue to rise as well. And Mr. Speaker, I see the Minister of Education is in the chamber. Mr. Speaker, let's just remind ourselves that 6 years ago the Labor government left 1 in 3 children leaving school having been failed by the education system. Minister Parata, Minister Tolley before her have changed the education system in this country, and now, Mr. Speaker, New Zealand children are achieving at higher rates than they ever did under the Labor government. And Mr. Speaker, those national ministers of education that have delivered for New Zealand children need to be congratulated. And Mr. Speaker, crime is coming down, unemployment is coming down, reoffending is coming down, wages are going up, more people are coming off the welfare queue. Mr. Speaker, this government can be trusted to deliver on the things that we say that we're going to do. All of a sudden, the Labor Party have decided that they want to focus on the issues that matter. Well, Mr. Speaker, we've been focusing on the issues that matter for 6 years now. 6 years now. All of a sudden, Labor decided that 2 months ago, when they were talking about cups of teas and short trips to the airport, that those were the things that matter. Now, Mr. Speaker, all of a sudden, when the trust and the integrity and the problems of the Labor leader are called into question, all of a sudden they change their tune, they get back in their box, and they want to start talking about the issues that matter. I see that we have Sue Moroney over the other side squawking. Mr. Speaker, in the last couple of days, the Labor list came out, and Mr. Speaker, the people on the other side through this appropriations debate will probably be hoping that they'll be able to participate in the appropriations debate next year. Well, Mr. Speaker, I've got a bit of news for Sue Moroney because, Mr. Speaker, at her list ranking on current polling, Sue Moroney will not be here next year to speak in the appropriations debate. For Sue Moroney to be here next year, Labor would have to achieve 25.6%, Mr. Speaker. At current polling, Sue Moroney, this will be the last time she can squawk in this appropriations debate. Raymond Ho's up the back. He's actually not such a bad guy. He should have a higher list ranking. Certainly, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure he thinks so. For Raymond Ho to be able to participate in next year's appropriations debate, Raymond Ho and the Labor Party would have to get 29%. And, Mr. Speaker, they just won't be able to get there.
Point of order.
Mr. Speaker, this is a debate about the estimates, and I know that the government hasn't got much good news trumpet of its own. But if it
Order. Now look, I have cautioned the member before about using points of order to make an attack, and that's quite out of order. The member started by making a point about the relevance of comments. That was a good point of order. Then she spoiled it. I'll let the member continue, but it is the estimates debate.
Well, Mr. Speaker, that point of order is probably the last contribution that member will be making in an appropriations debate. Mr. Speaker, we are delivering. We can be trusted in health, in education, in law and order and in the economy, this government is delivering. I know Sue Moroney is having a difficult time because the party in this Parliament, that's delivering higher paid parental leave for New Zealanders is the National Party. The National Party is delivering higher paid parental leave. The National Party is the party that's delivering an extended period of weeks for New Zealand families to get paid parental leave, and that just doesn't sit too well with Sue Moroney because she knows she'll be leaving this place in a few months' time having failed on that particular policy. Mr Speaker, I want to touch on housing briefly too, because Mr Phil Twyford, before the dinner break, wanted to talk about housing. Apparently the Labour Party talking about delivering 10,000 houses a year is a great big achievement that they're going to be able to deliver. Mr Speaker, we're already delivering consents at an average of 13,000 consents per year on average. Mr Speaker, the interventions the Labour Party is promising in Auckland will not work. The extra regulatory requirements they'll be putting in place will actually harm the housing system in Auckland. The best way to deliver on housing that Mr Twyford hasn't worked out is for the government to put the regulatory framework in place for the private sector to deliver more houses, and that's what we're doing, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, this country is enjoying higher growth. New Zealanders are seeing that they're coming off the welfare queue, getting into jobs, being able to deliver for their families because they're having higher wages and a more productive economy, and an economy which supports regions like Taranaki to be able to have strong economic growth. When we look at the other side, they're opposed to growth, they're opposed to supporting the regions, they're opposed to New Zealand being a fast-growing economy. Mr Speaker, New Zealanders know they can trust the National Party and the John Key-led government, and I'm looking forward to see what New Zealanders come up with in the polling booth in less than 3 months' time.
The debate has now concluded. I'll put the question. And the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party vote. Clerk will conduct a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
2 votes in favour.
Mana.
1 vote opposed.
United Future.
1 vote in favour.
Brendan Horan. Any other votes?
The ayes are 62, the noes are 56. The motion is agreed to.
Appropriation 2013-14 Supplementary Estimates Bill, second reading. Imprest Supply, 1st to 2014-15 Bill, second reading.
The bills are set down for third reading forthwith. Honourable Hekia Parada.
I move that the Appropriation 2013-14 Supplementary Estimates Bill